Esto es otra cosa. Esto es otra cosa. Esto es otra cosa. Ya se empieza a ver, ya se empieza a oler que esta aquí huele a calidad. A calidad. ¿Por qué? Porque tiene 126.000 suscriptores. A ver, ¿el número de suscriptores tiene algo que ver? Sí, tiene algo que ver. Si la gente lo sigue es porque la gente lo comparte, a la gente le gusta y la gente se queda. Si a ti no te gusta un canal, como mínimo te vas. Así que, gente, canalillos de 2.000 suscriptores a un canal de 126.000, gente, hay una gran diferencia, ¿vale? Os voy a explicar TradeATS para aquellos que no lo sepáis qué es. Y es una empresa que desarrolla software, principalmente, para trading, para todo, para Forex, criptos, para cualquier tipo de mercado. Utiliza un software que os va a sonar bastante, pero bastante, digo mucho, y no voy a decir el nombre del trader, de un trader muy mediático, sobre todo en Instagram, que utiliza un indicador muy concreto y que es muy famoso por utilizar ese indicador, ¿vale? Entonces, vamos a ver la información del canal. Es de Estados Unidos, tiene más de 5 millones de visualizaciones y desde 2000... Venga, profe, nombres, no, lo vais a ver. Yo quiero que lo digáis vosotros, porque cuando veáis el software vais a decir ¡ah! Mi hermano dice que te parece a Tony Stark, por cierto, eres un crack. No es la primera vez que me lo dicen, gente, oye, luego... Espérate un momento, espérate. Bueno, gente, ahora sí yo creo que soy más Tony Stark. Es broma. Me han dicho bastante últimamente, sobre todo con la perilla. Bueno, gente, venga, va, nos dejamos de bromas. Vamos a la materia, va. Bueno, lo que he estado diciendo, es un canal que desarrolla software. Vamos a ver algunos de los vídeos, porque creo que a algunos va a sonar. Os va a sonar mucho. Vale, vamos a ver los vídeos. Vamos a ver los populares, ¿vale? Porque luego veremos un vídeo en concreto, pero quiero que veáis el software. Aquí está. Forex cuantitativo análisis software avanzado chart mapping. O este dura 15 minutos. EURUSD setup for big short. Mira, aquí está, ¿vale? A ver si os suena. Es un vídeo corto, ATS, desarrolla software. Cuando digo que desarrolla software me refiero a que tiene estudiado él sí. Ellos sí que desarrollan para ver el volumen de operaciones y tal. O sea, hay un estudio detrás cuantitativo, algorítmico, ¿vale? Que os pongo un poquito en antecedentes.
What's going on, guys? This is TradeATS. I want to welcome you to this week's video where we try to figure out which pairs are going to be the best to trade this next week. It is Sunday, February 24th, 2019. And I want to start this week talking a little bit about...
Si deseas hacer los mejores cursos de trading, no olvides pasar por nuestro apartado de tienda. Aquí encontrarás nuestros dos cursos avanzados, curso de trading con Fibonacci y el curso de trading institucional. En cada uno de los cursos encontrarás la explicación de lo que vas a aprender en las próximas clases. Donde aparece el temario del curso, podrás ver un PDF en donde se explica todos los temas y todas las clases que aprenderás. Además, actualmente tenemos campañas en donde el curso te puede salir de forma gratuita si te das de alta con nuestro broker afiliado. Si quieres más información o quieres adquirir este curso, únicamente tienes que añadirlo al carrito y realizar tu registro en la página web. En breve nos pondremos en contacto contigo para darte las instrucciones de cómo puedes empezar tus clases. No te lo pierdas. Si os suena un poquito esto, va, ¿no os suena?
¿No os suena? Started last week, we were talking about how dollar CAD was it was stuck in a range basically between this expansion and this expansion right here on the daily, and we were trying to see, you know, we were definitely short, so we were definitely going off that short direction on the daily. But what ended up happening on Wednesday, which was the 20th, right here on this daily candle, we ended up getting a new expansion line right here, and then the minute we got that new line, we were under expansion, and we had some defined direction on that. So I want to talk to you about the trading opportunities that did happen in that situation. We had this run right here on
Venga, va, mirar un poquito el gráfico.
This was a decent setup right here.
Empieza por J el trader. Empieza por J. Ya no doy más pistas. Una herramienta muy similar, muy similar. Ahí lo han dicho. Bien, 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 bien. Ahora sí. Vale, voy a acelerar un poquito para que veáis el funcionamiento, porque esto es lo que está explicando básicamente. Es un trading, acción del precio, velas Heikin-Ashi y el indicador este. You can see we came up, took out this liquidity line. If you look back, where's the origination of that liquidity line? Was right here. So coming down this run, we had traders that sold into this, that were still holding those profitable positions. It came up, blew them out right there, and then price rotated off of that. So that was the start of the down move, and you can see that was timed with holding under expansion, which is that's that tipping point. If we're above expansion, we're buying. If we're below, we're selling. As far as your directional bias, your entry, we're doing the opposite. But directional bias, you're working that as a momentum type indicator. So we're short on the daily. We see that rotate. You're gonna probably miss this one right here. You're gonna miss this leg because this is basically the leg that turned the 4 hour. So yeah, let's just say that you didn't get any of that. Right here was your first trade entry opportunity. We came down. We popped an expansion right here on this candle on the 15. And at that point, the minute you got that white line, you are above expansion in a down market, in a confirmed down market. We're short on the 4 hour under expansion, and we're short on the daily at that point under expansion. So there, you're gonna sell that right there in expectation that you're gonna get down through the line. If you see it came down, rejected off expansion, but it didn't go back up past where that active high was right here. So held under there, and then we broke, came down, got a new expansion, ricocheted off of that, and went into a nice down run. This was such an early entry into this new 4 hour rotation. These are the ones that you really want to hang out on. Bueno, está explicando la operativa que hicieron. Money Engineer tiene una estrategia en el Nasdaq, a ver qué te parece, y ya está. Ya te paso el link del vídeo. Vale, venga, va, pásamelo.
They're protecting that liquidity down there, which is an indicator that this could be a turn. So even if you sold this one, you came back below, you probably coming down that run, turn until we barely, you can see maybe it may go out of this. Hopefully you see what I mean. If we fall back in.
Bueno, como podéis ver, utiliza velas Heikin-Ashi, acción del precio, Smart Money, pero con Heikin-Ashi que se puede hacer perfectamente, te quitas mucho ruido. Y bueno, este indicador te va marcando las zonas de liquidez. Te va marcando zonas de liquidez, zonas de en donde puedes ejecutar entradas, zonas de dirección del precio. ¿Vale? Yo os sugiero que si os podéis entrar a verlo, el software. Yo, la verdad, tengo que decirlo, le voy a dar el like, no voy a comentar porque es un poquito aburrido el vídeo, pero debo decir que seguramente me lo acabe descargando. Me lo acabe descargando el software y lo probaré, a ver qué tal va. Pero bueno, en fin, el vídeo que quiero que veamos es este. Es un vídeo muy largo, pero lo voy a pasar todo rápido posible, ¿vale? Pero es uno de los vídeos que quizá tiene más ¿cómo se llama? No, mira, este tiene 2,4 millones de visualizaciones. Este tiene medio millón. Os tengo que decir, utiliza Smart Money, pero no vemos que hable él del concepto Smart Money, sino que habla de patrones, habla de liquidez, habla habla de muchas cosas, ¿vale? Es un canal muy interesante que quizá no está en la cultura con la que estamos acostumbrados, pero os lo recomiendo un montón, de verdad. Dice cosas súper interesantes y además a nivel data. Aquí tenéis uno de los patrones que dice 95% de Winning Bank Trading Strategy, Crypto Stocks and Forex Strategy. O sea, este digamos que es 95% de acierto. Este tío, el que explica esta empresa, es muy seria. Os lo digo de verdad, es una empresa muy seria, ¿vale? Yo lo recomiendo. Y este tiene 2,4 millones de visualizaciones. O sea, es un vídeo muy visto de 37 minutos. Este en concreto es el que dura 1 hora.
Almost 3 years ago, we released our original master pattern training video. This training now has over 2 million views and continues to help traders become profitable to this day. Also, since this video's release, we've had the privilege of working with thousands of traders from all over the world, and in that process,
a nivel de presentación,
in this brand new updated master pattern training, I'm not only going to cover older concepts more in depth, but I'm also going to give you all of the new tips and tricks we've learned along the way. I'm also going to show you how this methodology not only works on Forex, but also stocks and cryptocurrencies. Sit back and relax because you're not going to want to miss a minute of this special training.
All right, here we go. Man, I cannot tell you how excited I am to share this information with you. I put a ton of time and effort into this updated training.
Vale, debo advertir que son vídeos bastante largos, pero de verdad, os recomiendo un montón TradeATS. Es muy buen canal, de verdad. Tiene información muy buena. Lo voy a parar un momentito. Quizá al ser un canal bastante denso en cuanto a información, de Estados Unidos y no usa quizá tantas palabras clave a la hora que utiliza el algoritmo, el buscador de YouTube, como Smart Money, trading institucional y demás, quizá no tiene todavía la suficiente repercusión que debería tener, pero os garantizo que yo he aprendido cosas muy interesantes de este canal.
Professional trader would be like a proprietary trader on a trading
Este
desk.
es el master
say,
pattern,
JP
le llama.
Or a big bank. Everybody's behavior is involved, and their trading decisions are involved in creating this pattern. So it covers all bases. Now, this pattern happens on all time frames, every time frame, from the 1 minute to the monthly. And it happens in all liquid markets, including Forex, stocks, commodities, and especially crypto markets. So if you're...
De hecho, a mí este patrón me recuerda mucho a un Power of Three, ¿sí? Acumulación, manipulación, expansión, ¿vale? Pero lo explica de otra forma.
So before I get really deep into this training, I just want to quickly mention that this is designed to be an update for 2022 and beyond. If you've been following TradeATS for a while, you've probably seen our original master pattern training video. Well, you can think of this as a sequel to that. You can think of it as a follow-up that's going to get deeper, or just going to expand on that original concept. So our original master pattern training was focused on how market emotionally invested in their trading decisions.
Vale. Descripción, Smart Money, ¿vale? Ya digo que sí que lo utiliza, ¿vale? Vale, aquí explica las diferencias entre ¿vale? Mira, indicadores tradicionales, ¿no? Lo que se utiliza cuando empiezas prácticamente.
Constant progression of looking at the market phases, which equal the market cycle. This is all we're looking for all the time. We're looking for phase 1, which is that contraction phase, phase 2, which is the expansion. When we leave contraction, this can take many forms, but it's always the expansion from contraction. And then we have phase 3, tech conference. There's a bunch.
So not only
Una
is the price
larga,
down, but to the same people.
Te pone en situación bastante,
Now going back to a lot of people say that the markets are completely ranged out or initiating a new trade. It's making the wrong transaction at the wrong price level. So, and it all
te da la explicación, ¿no? De
lógica
que hay detrás de este patrón.
And bringing that market price up. So, really interesting thing there to think about. One more thing we need to consider before we get into exact strategy is how time affects the master pattern. How does it play into all this? So, as time flows away from an established contraction point where we have value, the market usually becomes more and more volatile as time goes on. As the market expands, you can see it's kind of represented by this funneling out price action. This is kind of a traditional master pattern cycle. The reason this happens is because higher time frame traders are becoming active as the range size increases. As you smash high and low prices and it keeps breaking out, these are false breakouts, but it keeps breaking out. Those higher time frame candles are now starting to move around and build history. That's going to draw those higher time frame players in, right? So one thing that I want to teach you about this right now is that when there is indecision on higher time frames, let's say your higher time frame is in a box or it's in a contraction itself.
Sí, está muy bueno,
expansion on the lower time frames can have
está
many
muy bueno.
swing high, swing low points.
Os lo garantizo que vale la pena, gente.
2, 3, 4.
Bienvenido al canal de Trading Forex TV Directos, en donde vemos estrategias y analizamos y reaccionamos a otros canales. Si todavía no estás suscrito, suscríbete y activa la campanita para que te lleguen todas las notificaciones. Muchas gracias.
5, 6, 7. 7 swing high and low points in
7
this overall
puntos,
master pattern
el
cycle.
master pattern.
We call this a multi-leg expansion. So if you see any of our other material, you hear us say multi-leg expansion. That's what this is. Okay, and this again, this signals indecision on the higher time frames. If there was decision on the higher time frames, it would have broken out usually on the first, second, third, or even fourth expansion. But if you go into a fifth, a sixth, a seventh, and it's still ultimately not going anywhere, it's still oscillating around that original value line, you know there's indecision up on those higher time frames. So quick example, as the range size increases, traders who are looking for longer, bigger moves start to feel that the market has
toda la teoría,
you look for according to your system or how you approach the market.
Todos los time frames desde M1
in a way that triggers you to
a
make
todos.
a decision or
mensual,
get a trade or get out of a trade or move your stop loss.
Es lo mismo para buscar zonas objetivo.
Those time frames. So if someone is looking at a monthly, perfect. No one is perfect.
Vale.
That's why the daily continues in
está,
the uptrend during this period. The daily traders did not change their mind on that direction for whatever reason, right? So they kept the market stable, but within that market, that overall trend, there were these minor pullbacks on the 15-minute chart, and that is the faster money. Inside here, you get traders that are looking at the 15-minute. Looking at though is this move right here. Now let's look at the dynamics of how this move originally started. What was happening right here? When you can see we got held up on value right here, and then price broke through. What do these lines represent? These yellow lines represent is coming back to value. That's where you.
Ahora voy pasando porque pensar que esto es un vídeo dura 1 hora y 26 minutos. Si no lo paso, yo os hago un breve resumen.
What happened right here? Well, we had a weak hand reversal. Why did this happen? It's because price went up. Weak hands jumped in, the dumb money jumped in, and higher time frames than them, the strong, stable money, didn't pile in as well.
Este es muy bueno. Dice game time, hora del juego, ¿vale? Donut trade, lógicamente hay una acumulación. Viene a hacer este movimiento, ¿vale? Y vuelve al punto de control, por así decirlo, un VPOC. En realidad esto sería un VPOC.
of shorter term weak hands, it's going to collapse and crumble back to value. And that's exactly what happened. But if you can spot this, if you know that this is happening or it's likely to happen, then this opportunity right here, this is a new trend sweet spot. If you see this happening on your higher time frame chart, that is a great spot to start looking at your lower time frame chart for the opportunity to short the market, especially if you're trading Forex. Very easy to short the market. So this would be a great strategy for that. So right here, at this point, you'd be looking for the market to go short, at least back to value. As you can see, it went a lot further than that. But let's look at what else happened in the progression. So right here, when we got below value, it got hung up on value for a few candles there. But when it got below, now you're starting to get into where the higher time frames are likely going to pile on. So in that case, you have another sweet spot, but this one's risk controlled by value. If your higher time frame confirms under value, then even as you trade on the lower time frame, you can decide that if the higher time frame goes back above that value point, that you'll get out of the market. So that becomes a great place to control risk really tight on your overall higher time frame. So as this goes down, one thing you need to be more and more careful of is that it could end. The farther you move away from value, remember, now you're starting to get weak hands selling in. You could be stopping out past buyers depending on the structure of the market. But either way, you got weak hands coming into the market. The farther that they go, the more traders see it's happening. Remember, seeing is believing. They're jumping in. They're getting stopped out from previous positions. That's bringing weak hands into the market, and that's where you can suffer a reversal. So remember that if you look at a move and it's already gone, 10, 20, 30 candles gone, then I'm not saying don't trade it. What I'm saying is don't bet the farm on it. Be very careful, because eventually you will get at least a pause in the trend or a full-blown reversal. As this market goes down from that new trend sweet spot at the top turn, what are you looking to do on your lower time frame? Okay, on your lower time frame chart, the market starts going down. We have that contraction zone that gives us the start of framework that we can manage the opportunity around. So this is really what you're looking for. You're looking for price action that gives you a value line with a contraction. It breaks out and then expands up above. This is ideal. Now there's other ways that you can also manage risk on direct breakouts, because some of these boxes go directly back into trend. That can happen, but this is the ideal setup because this one is the most forgiving, and it allows you also to make the most amount of profit in most of these situations. So as the market goes up, you want to accumulate your inventory above value. So you can see it represented by the arch there. In that general area, you want to accumulate, whether it's just one position where you're trying to find the best entry yourself, or if you're not totally sure how far it's going to go, then you could also break up your overall position into multiple positions and build that inventory. That's where we talk about using smaller positions so that you can stay flexible. It's really, really important you stay flexible in this period so that you can actually see a profit. If you trade too big a size right here, there's a good chance that you're going to get stopped out because you're not going to have the pain tolerance to watch it go negative. And believe me, you're going to misjudge these quite often, so you need to take caution and prepare for that. It's going to happen, but you will get better over time the more experience you get. Okay, now as price comes back to value, your minimum upside is coming back to value. But ideally, if your overall higher time frame direction stays intact,
Está guapo,
you really want to try to liquidate at value or below.
Está guapo este patrón,
Because as you go below, what's...
Hola y bienvenido a la newsletter de análisis semanal con Smart Money Concepts. Desde ahora podrás suscribirte con una pequeña cuota mensual y recibir de forma semanal el análisis de 10 o más activos de los movimientos que estoy esperando del precio para la próxima semana. Encontrarás puntos de entrada, invalidaciones y la proyección del take profit en cada uno de los análisis. Así que, ¿a qué esperas? Suscríbete a la newsletter de Smart Money Concepts por tan solo desde 9,95 al mes. Además, tienes una membresía de una semana gratuita para probar el servicio. Encontrarás el enlace en la descripción de este vídeo para suscribirte a la nueva newsletter de Smart Money Concepts.
Happening on the lower time frame, that dumb money is rushing in, the supply is rushing into the market.
Resumiendo un poco, porque está explicando muy bien la lógica del patrón. High time frame, la tendencia es bajista, lógicamente. Aquí hay una acumulación, hay ¿no? Como una manipulación. Viene arriba y como te vuelva abajo, esta es la área de valor real, ¿vale? Ya te está diciendo que puedes intentarlo ahí, pero ves con bajo lotaje, porque puede ser que se te vaya o no ocurra. Lógica, tiene su lógica de que no acabe de ocurrir. Pero aquí está el área de valor, es decir, en cuanto vuelve aquí al punto de control, aquí es la clave del patrón.
They're all selling, and that's what you want to actually sell into that strength. So, or I apologize, you want to buy back into that strength because you'll be closing out your sell order. So while they're selling, they're rushing in the market that you're buying. You're doing the opposite of them. So you want to liquidate your inventory into that declining market under value. So now we're going to look at the opposite. Now the same move, this move turned into that multi-leg expansion, that classic funneling out action. And what ended up happening there, we did get that weekend reversal. So if you were shorting, you have to be careful. You're undervalued. It did go into a turn. But the turn's good because that provides us with another one of those new trend sweet spots. That great place to start getting interested in your lower time frame to try to find an actual entry opportunity. You're so close to the turn at these spots that the risk is traditionally pretty minimal. So this is it's a great place to start getting interested in an overall direction change. This also came up through value and provided us with another risk controlled sweet spot. Not as good as the initial bottom turn, but it's it's decent. This one popped off pretty fast, so there actually wasn't much opportunity on this specific one. But you do want to watch that point because you could get great opportunities around that value point. And then at the top, remember, you're starting to enter into overvalued territory. You're going to have weak hands jumping in. If those higher time frames don't come in and bail them out, you're going to collapse back to value again. So you always want to be aware of that. Hopefully by this time you racked enough profits from the initial turn at the bottom to where you've earned the right to just keep trading it for all it's worth. But if this is where you're starting on the trend and you already missed all those opportunities, you definitely want to be careful. So on your lower time frame entry chart, it's basically the same thing as shorting, just your value point. That gives you the framework. You want to accumulate your inventory under value, and then you want to sell it into the
Ahí lo
rise.
tienes.
You want to liquidate your inventory at
guapo,
value. And remember, your
guapo el
minimum
patrón,
is always at the value level.
A mí me
you're just
gusta.
trying to get from where you accumulate to value. That's your minimum profit target, and then when you get up above, that's where it's gravy, and you're just going to want to try to do the best you can with riding it as long as you can. That's just where time, experience, that's where that comes in. Now, I know I've spoken about how important the higher time frame is, but I just want to go over this just to really drive it home, okay? The higher time frame is your key to
Bueno,
predicting
luego
the
aquí hay
future.
detalles y
When you
matices,
accurately forecast the future, the higher
de
time
cómo
frame
funciona.
is how much of this
¿Vale?
move
Aquí
up
luego pasa a
is
mercado
weak
real,
holders.
te explica
How
cómo
much of it
lo
is,
hace.
because if there's weak holders up here, they're going to be the first to drop.
¿No?
When
Mira,
they-
aquí está el ejemplo, ¿no? Míralo, aquí. Acumula, arriba, abajo. Y cuando te hace ahí la 13-14, le vamos a llamar el patrón 13-14. Te hace la 13-14, es por donde tira, ¿vale? Entonces te tiene engañado, te tiene embaucado, te hace la 13-14 y ahí que se va, ahí que te la mete, ¿eh? Patrón 13-14. Hostia, está bien el patrón porque tú crees que ahí se va para arriba, vas a operar el order block de aquí, pones el stop por debajo, te saca, dice, bueno, esto es un rompimiento de estructura, cuando vuelve aquí voy a vender, stop loss aquí, te vuelve a sacar y se va para otra edición, te ha sacado 2 veces. Entonces te ha hecho la 13-14, que cuando te lo haga, ahora puedes decir, hostia, me han hecho la 13-14 y es el patrón este. Es el patrón este, 13-14. Oye, a mí me gusta. Importante que la dirección del precio tiene que ir a favor, ¿vale? Patrón 13-14, dirección a favor. Ya tenemos un patrón nuevo, gente. Me gusta. No sé vosotros, pero vamos a probarlo. El patrón 13-14. Igual saco un vídeo con un PDF de la estrategia patrón 13-14 de ATS Trade, ¿eh? No sé qué os parece. Bueno, vamos a acabar de ver el vídeo. Basta de chorradas y patrones 13-14.
market value right here, you can see, and then we came below that market value. So you can see that it came up, came
Ahí,
through
te lo
there,
hace otra vez,
and then
arriba,
settled out right here.
abajo
We
y
made the
arriba.
call to start looking at it right about here. I forget exactly which day it was, and it was based on the monthly being pointed up. We think that the momentum's coming in. There was some research done behind this on a fundamental. Is Facebook stock or
Bueno, aquí te lo hace, te pone varios ejemplos en cualquier time frame.
2% of your account on any.
¿Vale? Más explicaciones y demás.
Bueno,
a mí me ha parecido una auténtica maravilla de vídeo, una auténtica... Hostia, venden camisetas y tazas, qué cracks. Wonderful, voy a ver esa Wonderful, para que sepáis que... no está nada mal, Wonderful, mira, le voy a poner Júpiter aquí. Pum, Wonderful, toma. Bueno, chavales, canal ATS Trade tiene 37 vídeos. Otro canal que para los poquitos vídeos que tiene muchísimas visualizaciones, muchísimas... Este vídeo también estaría bien verlo, pero hoy ya se nos alarga mucho el tiempo. No os vayáis, que luego vamos a ver este canal que me está pasando Leito Urri, por último, y voy a hacer las conclusiones del canal. Así que TradeATS, os recomiendo también ver su web, que tiene el tema del software y los indicadores, quizá os puede ayudar mucho. Os recomiendo mucho este canal. Este patrón, el Master Pattern, me ha gustado. Master Pattern, o vamos a ver Master Pattern 13-14, por el tema de que te engaña por todos lados. Así que, bueno, patrón más. Ya sabéis que me gustan las cositas fáciles de acordarte y fáciles de operar. Buen canal, lo recomendamos. ATS Trade, ahí lo dejo.